This week on the Hooters Tour with Lee Moore and Kim Breel. Coming up on This Week on the Hooters Tour, professional golf at Whitewater Creek Country Club in Atlanta, an interview with Hooters of America President Bob Brooks. Meet Chris Vandervelde, one of our Hooters Tour players, and of course, 4 rounds of championship golf. All coming up next.
Birdies, eagles, and now owls. You know, birds of a feather. Anyway, welcome to This Week on the Hooters Tour.
Who's getting happy? Who's having fun? Who's been to Hooters? Come on, everyone, it's at Hooters. Hooters. Hooters makes you happy.
Hooters makes you happy.
Hooters makes you happy.
Hooters makes you happy.
Good times, great food, fun music, what a hoot. Hooters. Hooters. Everybody's getting happy at Hooters.
I don't know, but I've been told Hooters girls are good as gold. Hooters, sound off 1, 2.
At Hooters, our girls earn their wings every day.
Hooters, it's not just a restaurant, it's an adventure.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of This Week on the Hooters Tour. I'm Lee Moore.
And I'm Kim Breel. This week we're here at the Golf and Country Club headquarters of Hooters of America, Whitewater Creek Country Club.
Fact of the matter is, though, Kim, Mr. Bob Brooks, the worldwide wing commander, purchased Whitewater Creek just over a year ago. Later in this show, you're going to meet the man who went from a farm boy in Laura, South Carolina to the owner of a number of companies, including Hooters of America, the national corporate sponsor of our golf tour. And we're proud of that new relationship, I might add.
Our stop here at Whitewater Creek will put our 168 professionals to a strong test on this 7,000-yard-long track designed by Arnold Palmer.
Speaking of this well-manicured, well-laid-out track, let's go right to the first 2 rounds of the Hooters Classic.
Whitewater Creek Country Club, the home of the Hooters Tour. We're going to learn more about this track later in the show. It was anyone's guess as to who would surface in the first 2 days of play. Of course, there were the solid players like Ricky Smallridge and Dickie Thompson, who, by the way, lives just a couple of miles away. Jeff Thorson of Jacksonville, Florida, had the best showing of the year on Thursday. His 66 puts him first on the leaderboard, and he'll receive a check for the naturally fresh low round of the day. Thorson would fall short of expectations on Friday as he posted a 2 over par 74 for a 2-day total of 140, and that'll put him 4 shots off the lead. Craig Perks of Lafayette, Louisiana, and last year's co-player of the year, had a fair day on Thursday, posting a 2 under par 70. But he too shot a 74 in round 2, just making the cut at even par. Jason Biddick picks up par at the par 5 fourth hole, but for the first time this year, he'll miss the cut. Eric Johnson from Eugene, Oregon, has had a pretty tough time this year. His 2 rounds of 70-73 will get him into the weekend, but he'll be 7 strokes off the lead. Greg Beal, he's a new name surfacing on the leaderboard this year. He's from Thornhill, Ontario. He'll make birdie here, and he'll card a 68-71 to be 5 under for the tournament and 3 shots off the lead. Several guys were in the hunt, like Brian Wagner, Doug Luce, and Don Shirey of Rome, Georgia, who picked up the naturally fresh low round check with his 66 on Friday. Ricky Smallridge will share the lead going into round 3 with Bob Frazier and Chris Smith. There's other guys out there like Ryan Howison. He's usually close to the front. He hasn't missed a cut all year. He'll post a 2-day score of 142, 2 under par, and that's 6 shots off our leaders. There will be 48 players with scores that are under par, as the cut has been set at even par, 144.
The scoreboard after 36 holes reflects 3 players tied for the lead at 8 under par or 136 on this par 72 layout. They are Bob Frazier of Selma, Alabama, Ricky Smallridge of Opelika, Alabama, and Chris Smith of Rochester, Indiana. T. Burton out of Shelby, North Carolina, and winner of 2 Hooters Jordan Tour events in as many years, is alone at 137 or 7 under par. Now there's a 4-way tie at 6 under. That group includes Jimmy Green of Mobile, Alabama, and 3 players who have fired 69s in both rounds: Chris Estridge of Charlotte, Brian Wagner of Irving, Texas, and Steve Pope of Clinton, Mississippi. There's a large group at 5 under par. Trip Eisenhower of Salisbury, North Carolina, and Doug Luce followed a 71 with a 68, and the Verona, New Jersey resident is joined by Craig Bowden of Bedford, Indiana, Craig Beal of Thornhill, Ontario, and Baton Rouge, Louisiana native John Ziske, again all at 5 under par. There are 8 at 4 under, and in that group are 2 Peachtree City residents, Dickie Thompson, a winner earlier this year at Columbus, and Charlie King.
When we return, we'll check out the early week activities at the Hooters Classic, and we'll go up close and personal with Chris Vandervelde right after this.
Hi, I'm Lisa from the Atlanta Hooters. Stick around and we'll be right back.
Everybody's getting happy at Hooters.
Table settled in. And remember, tonight you're playing for Bud Light, ladies.
The boys are back in town.
These guys are good.
Who are you calling guys?
Yeah.
Looks like you're in the finals. Ma'am, for the great taste that won't fill you up and never let you down, make it a Bud Light.
You're the defending ladies pool champion?
Yes, I am.
At Hooters, our girls earn their wings every day.
Hooters, it's not just a restaurant, it's an adventure.
Now, the final 10 spots in our field of 168 was completed Monday when 10 Atlanta area professionals competed in that 18-hole qualifier. Here's a look at that summary board. Now, I mentioned the 10-spot qualifier, Kim. We actually expanded to 17 places this week, with several last-minute Hooters Tour players gaining exemptions into the Nike tournament, which this week had a stop down at Macon. Now, that really makes us an effort to include as many area professionals as possible in this event.
That's important too, Lee. At our early week junior clinic, Scott Wheeler, a member of the Hooters Tour, stressed to the kids to keep the head down and just try to make contact with the ball. Now, each week prior to our Hooters Tour event, all area youngsters are welcomed by Scott and our fellow touring pros to the clinic.
Yeah, it's great for the kids to come out and take part in that. Now, following a big pairings party on Tuesday night at the Terra Boulevard Hooters restaurant, a field of 28 teams took part in the Wednesday Pro-Am. Now, the team of Ryan Howison, the Hooters Pro, shot 24 under par or 120. Congratulations to them. Ryan fired a 4 under par 68 on his own ball. Now, the amateurs playing with Ryan were Bob Stevens, Lou Dixon, Richard Stevens, and Joe Barkowitz. The low pros in the event were John Huff, Mike Schwartz, and Ricky Smallridge. All came in with 7 under par 65s. One special feature during the Pro-Am was the appearance of Captain Darrell Kirkley in that Hooters hot air balloon. David Knoll of Dalton won the long drive contest. He had a best with 337 yards.
Not on my best day with 2 shots. Speaking of the big hitters, Chris Vandervelde of Ackworth, Georgia, took up the game at the late age of 19 and has made his presence felt worldwide for the past 5 years. If you were to compare resumes with 90% of the Hooters Tour players, Chris Vandervelde would probably be amongst the top as most impressive. His father is Dutch, his mother American, and for Chris, that means dual passports and a ticket to play golf in Holland.
Decided to go back and see if I could get to the top in Holland, be a big fish in a little pond for a while, and that actually opened a lot of doors for me. It opened doors for me in Australia. I played in the European Tour for 5 years, and I've played 5 World Cups. I think that it's like anywhere in the world. If you're number one somewhere and you get name recognition, then that helps, and it gets you invitations. It got me 2 invitations here last year. I mean, played well enough to make both those cuts, but it makes you feel good to at least people know, that you're number one somewhere.
This year, Vandervelde will bounce between the Dutch PGA Tour, the European Tour, and the Hooters Tour, which, with its naturally fresh $100,000 bonus race, almost had Chris staying in the States for all 21 events.
I almost blew that all off because of the $100,000 bonus that Hooters was putting out, but that's like waving a carrot in front of your face and saying, come on, play the tour more. And I just, it's only one person, it's a long shot deal, and I figure you're better off being more realistic and taking care of your responsibilities in Holland. So that's why I got to do that.
So right now, money isn't the motivator. Experience is what he's after. And when it comes down to playing against the big dogs, it takes more than just raw talent, like when he was leading the Australian Open.
It was a lot of fun. I mean, the first time you get up there in a leaderboard like that, you're paying attention to the leaderboard, and you try not to, And I fell off that one pretty fast in the Australian Open, but the biggest tournament for me, if I try to recall, it was the World Cup in I think 90 or 91 when I was in 5th place after 3 rounds, and the 4 guys in front of me were Woosnam, Longer, Sam Torrance, and Seve. So I was, I thought I was in pretty hot company there, and I think I finished 15th in the tournament overall. But after 3 rounds, that was a lot of pressure, and the Dutch press was really big on that. And I think those experiences will all be helpful when it comes to getting on the U.S. Tour. That's my eventual goal. I want to play over here, and I want to make my life over here. I've got 2 children now, and I'm tired of traveling all around Europe. It wears you out.
Chris Vandervelde, that's a name you'll certainly want to remember when you're checking out golf scores in the future. Speaking of checking out the future, how about the Worldwide Wing Commander and his future in the business of golf?
Whitewater Creek Country Club, the home of Hooters and the pride of Hooters CEO Bob Brooks, who purchased Whitewater Creek a little over a year ago.
I drove in one day to play with a friend of mine out here. Of course, I couldn't afford to be a member of the country club at the time. This is about 8 or 10 years ago, 8 years ago, I guess. I almost said I couldn't afford to, but I elected not to be a member of it. But I played the course. I didn't like it because it was brand new. And I didn't come back until, I guess, a year or so ago. And I accidentally played it again, so to speak, and it changed so much. It was a lot better. And it became available to purchase, and I purchased it with a plan in mind to get involved with like the Jordan Tour or the golf in general, so to have a home base.
Our Hooters Tour players will play this 6,700-yard track twice this season. The second stop here will be the Tour's season finale Match Play Championship. Some of the favorite holes include number 3, a 210-yard par 3 with water surrounding the green.
I guess my favorite hole would be number 3, and that's the first par 3 on the golf course. There's a lake in front of the green and all to the left. It's just a beautiful golf hole. It's about 200 yards from the back tee, and it's just a fun hole to play. And I guess it favors the person that draws the ball, hits it right to left, and I hit it right to left. So I guess that's one of the reasons why it's my favorite hole. It's a pretty hole.
Bermuda fairways with bent grass greens, a golfer's stairway to heaven. Hooters Assistant Vice President of Marketing, Mike McNeil, admits that this is one of Arnold Palmer's best designs.
My favorite holes out here are 10, 11, and 12. It's a combination of 3 holes. You've got a par 4, followed by a par 3, and then followed by a par 5. You go over water once, twice, 4 different times, in that series of 3 holes. You've got 3 greens there that are surrounded by water, and you play in and around a lake, and it's really, really picturesque and really pretty. It's also difficult. I've lost a bunch of golf balls out there.
Come October again, you could witness another dramatic finish of the par 5 18th hole, and you can bet that the guys will be pressing to make birdie on this one.
An interesting guy, Lee. And like the old saying goes, he's made his mark the old-fashioned way. He's earned it. Still ahead on This Week on the Hooters Tour, the final 2 rounds at Whitewater Creek Country Club.
Hi, I'm Stephanie from the Atlanta Hooters. Stick around and we'll be right back.
So I said to Henny, of course chickens are more important to Hooters than owls.
Who?
Chickens, that's who.
I beg to differ.
Well, peg all you want. Without chickens, there'd be no chicken sandwiches or chicken salad. Or Hooters' famous chicken wings. There'd be no Hooters if it weren't for chicken.
It's really not wise to even argue the point.
That's because I'm right.
No, that's because you're not going to be around long anyway. Chicken.
Naturally fresh, simply delicious. Just wait and see. You'll taste the quality. Preservative free. We always have been, always will be. Naturally, it's simply delicious. Naturally fresh. It's a lifestyle.
Are you still drinking the old thing? Try the next thing, Powerade. With 33% more carbos than Gatorade and a taste you can really slam. Powerade, the next thing.
As we go to Saturday's 3rd round action, there's 3 guys tied for the lead, but one, Ricky Smallridge, is going to end up making the big move of the day. At the same time, just a bit farther back in the pack, a couple of guys are going to have interesting days, namely Kelly Korleski from Clemmy, Iowa, and a veteran Hooters Tour player, Greg Parker.
On Saturday, the Hooters Tour camera recorded 14 birdies over 4 holes. That spread amongst 12 players on the leaderboard. Kelly Korleski was the early on player favored to make the biggest move. After posting a 5-under par 31 on the par 36 front, he slipped by going OB on number 10 and taking a double bogey 7 on the par 5 15th hole. Korleski would shoot 39 on the back, a 69 for the day. Jimmy Green from Mobile, Alabama was just a couple of strokes back of the lead going into round 3, and he too finds his putting stroke, posting a 3-under 69, including this birdie on the par 4, number 9, as well as this birdie on the 15th par 5 hole. Some other names in the hunt on Saturday included Chris Smith of Rochester, Indiana. He was tied for the lead entering the day. And this birdie on number 9 was one of the highlights on his way to a round of 70, 2 under par to move to 10 under par for the tournament. T. Burton gained a stroke to go 8 under for the tournament. He makes this incredible shot on number 9 for a birdie to help his cause. Bob Frazier was one of 3 leaders going into round 3. This birdie on number 16 was one of the few highlights of the day, as he would finish 1 over par for a 3-day total of -7. Ricky Smallridge, one of the most consistent players to date, pars on 15, 16, and 17, with chances at birdie at all 3. He would, however, take sole possession of first with an eagle 3 on the par 5, 18th hole. That 3 would give Ricky a 3-stroke lead going into the final day.
It being a par 5, and I had 197 yards, so basically I was just trying to put it on the green past the hole, and it just came out just right, and I ended up with a perfect putt right straight up the hill.
So let's take a look at your leaderboard after 3 rounds. Ricky Smallridge will take a 3-stroke lead into Sunday. He'll have to watch out for Chris Smith of Rochester, Indiana, and Steve Pope of Clinton, Mississippi. These 2 guys are just 3 strokes off the lead. Some more names: Jimmy Green, Dickie Thompson, and Chris Vandervelde, all in a position to make a move on Sunday. Also, Dan Coyle of Phoenix, Arizona, he's in at 207. And one back of that is T. Burton, Brian Wagner, Chris Estridge, Trip Eisenhower, and Doug Luce.
Going into the final round, Ricky Smallridge, thanks to his 5-under par 67, held a 3-shot lead over Chris Smith and Steve Pope of Clinton, Mississippi.
But Kim, before this day is over, a course record's going to be set. A log jam is going to occur at 15 under par, but one of the more dramatic shots ever on the Hooters Tour is going to end this event. A soft-spoken Mississippian gets to the winner's circle.
Dickie Thompson was the first man to make a big move on Sunday. After sinking 5 birdies in the first 7 holes, he's tied for the lead at 13 under and has this putt for birdie at number 8 and a chance to take the lead. He would make par there and at number 11 before trouble causes him to fall back to 11 under par, 2 strokes off the lead. The gallery was anxiously awaiting for someone to pull out in front. Of course, Ricky Smallridge with his 3-stroke lead was favored to get hot. Smallridge, however, would play scorecard golf, while back in the pack, a young man from Rancho Murrieta, California, would have the TV cameras jumping 6 groups ahead to record his course record 64, and making the leaders go after his 15 under par tournament score. Jimmy Green would be next to post 15 under with his 6 under par round of 66, and it looked as though a playoff was in the making. But we still had a couple of big names on the course with several holes to play. One of those, of course, was Ricky Smallridge. The other was Steve Pope of Clinton, Mississippi. Pope started the day 3 strokes off the lead, but by the time he had reached hole number 15, he had cut that lead to 2 strokes. After a birdie at 15, it was down to a single stroke. He would par 16, birdie 17, and be tied for the lead with Jimmy Green and Scott McCarron, who also was at minus 15. The par 5 18th hole could be the most talked about shot at Whitewater Creek. Pope, just 60 yards from the green, hitting his 3rd shot, would stick this shot for a relatively give-me birdie putt, and that sewed up his first win on the Hooters Tour.
You know, I figured that the day would come sooner or later, and I figured that it would happen before now, but, you know, it makes it just much more sweeter, you know, much more. And, you know, I was thinking the same thing out there that, you know, this is just a stepping stone. I'm not planning on spending the rest of my life here, and that, you know, I'm supposed to win a few every now and then, and I just kept telling myself those things, and it worked out.
So after a dramatic shot into number 18, Steve Pope wins the Hooters Golf Classic by a single stroke to win the $15,000 first place check. 3 guys finished 1 stroke back for a 273 total of 15 under par. Those guys are Scott McCarron, Jimmy Green, and Ricky Smallridge. Others on the leaderboard include Dickie Thompson of Peachtree City, Georgia, who fired a 69 on Sunday to come in 5th.
A great finish and a great win for Steve Pope. When we return, our players tip and a rules tip to help you get your handicap down.
Don't go away. There's still more to come.
Our girls earn their wings every day.
Hooters, it's not just a restaurant, it's an adventure.
Fellow Americans, recently it's been reported in the national media that I am preoccupied with Hooters. I wish to state for the record that I have not been sneaking out in the middle of the night and going to Hooters. Reports that I have been seen eating a big plate of nearly world-famous chicken wings are simply not true. It's just another attempt to discredit the policies of this administration. Thank you. Fellow Americans, I've taken this airtime today to clear up a few misconceptions that have been in the press lately regarding my wife's involvement with Hooters. At no time prior to or since my having been elected president has my wife invested in Hooters. My wife has made some investments from time to time, and she does have some stock holdings. She has some IBM and some General Motors and some mutual funds, but she does not have any Hooters. Thank you.
Each week on our player segment here, we catch up with a player who's going to help us with some of those tough shots. This week, the host professional, Cutts Benedict, he played in the tournament. He's going to show us about that chip shot with a 7-iron.
One of the most common mistakes I see with amateur club golfers is they choose the wrong club to chip with. What I'm going to show you here is what club to use around the edge of the greens. I'm about a yard or two off the edge of the green here, and it's very typical for most amateur club golfers to use a wedge or a sand wedge, a club with too much loft. Here I'm hitting a shot where we have a lot of room between the edge of the green and the hole. It's much more easily done with a 6 or 7 iron and chip and run the ball and basically turn this shot into a long putt. If you're having any problems with any part of your game, please contact your local head professional at your club.
And again, thanks to our guy Cuts there in the pro shop, the host professional here at Whitewater Creek. We want to thank him for helping us out.
You know, Lee, even after we learn how to hit all those specialty shots these pros are helping us with, there's one thing you still have to have a handle on, and that's the rules. This week, Hooters rules official Doug Finley is on the course.
Hi again, everyone. I'm Doug Finley, Rules of Golf Director for the Hooters Professional Golf Tour. This week on Rules Tips, we are going to look at USGA Rule number 16, which involves the putting green, and what may occur if an old hole plug lies on your line of putt. Here at Whitewater Creek Country Club, south of Atlanta, a ball belonging to tour player Ryan Howison came to rest so that an old hole plug lay directly on his line of putt. Rule 16 says he may repair that old hole plug, or if that is impossible, he should request the committee in charge of the event or tournament to raise or lower the plug. However, since a rules official, in this case yours truly, could not satisfactorily level the putt without delaying play, the plug becomes ground under repair. And so, we gave Ryan relief under Rule 25, which allows him to place the ball without penalty in the nearest position on the putting green, which gives him total relief from the old plug, and of course, no nearer the hole. So that's how he proceeded, but I will leave it up to you to decide whether or not Ryan made his putt. Hope you enjoyed this week's rules tip. Thanks for being with us. See you next time.
I might add, a hard-working guy, Doug Finley. Now let's take a look at that official money list to date. After 4 events, Dickie Thompson from Peachtree City, right here close by, is number 1 with over $20,000. Paul Claxton and Steve Thomas are both right there, just right around the $17,000 mark. Steve Pope climbs in there with his $15,000 earnings right here with a win at Whitewater Creek. A couple of other names, Scott McCarron, Ricky Smallridge, another fellow by the name of Green, that's Jimmy, and Hicks Melanson. They round out the top 10. Also in there you have Joe Durant and Andrew Morse.
In the Naturally Fresh bonus race, Scott McCarron moves into first with his tied for second place this week. He's only 16 points ahead of Andrew Morse. Dickie Thompson and Ricky Smallridge are not far off the pace. Other names in the top 10 are Claxton, Ryan Howison, Steve Thomas, John Huff, McKelvey, and Reeves.
The bonus race is definitely making the guys think about, well, everything in their scheduling and also where they're going to be playing, because when you're playing for that $100,000 check, one guy's going to get to the end of the season, it can change some minds.
Played the Canadian Tour all last summer, and I was seriously thinking about going back until the Hooters got involved with the Jordan Tour and bumped the purses up to $100,000. With the bonus monies that they have now, it's a lot more lucrative for me to be on this Jordan Tour.
We certainly would like to thank our host. They are the members of the Whitewater Creek Club here, their general manager, Elmer Stevens. And again, you met him a while ago, the pro, Cuts Benedict.
And also, Lee, all the young ladies from the area Hooters store who spent hours at the leaderboard working, as well as helping out on the golf course. Next week, we'll be in Bastrop, Louisiana at Morehouse Country Club.
Please make plans right now to join us again right here for another great week of golf on This Week on the Hooters Tour.
This Week on the Hooters Tour is brought to you by Hooters Restaurants. Hooters, delightfully tacky yet unrefined. Naturally fresh foods, naturally fresh preservative-free salad dressings, sauces, and dips. And by Bud Light. Won't fill you up, never let you down.